There we go. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the continuation of day 2 of our Canadian Intercollegiate exhibition. Our second and final panel of the day is our Path to Pro panel. Today I have 3 really amazing guests with us, whatever you want to call that. So the Path to Pro panel is basically a discussion to hear individual experiences and within the esports and gaming scene, what their careers are like, and kind of get a more in-depth knowledge of the very vast pathways we have within our industry. So without further ado, of course, my name is Jen, and I will be your host again for this panel. And I will let the panelists introduce themselves, starting with the person on my left, screen left.
Hi, my name is Myra. I'm currently the head coach of esports at Keano College here in Fort McMurray, Alberta. Previously worked on various League of Legends teams, including Energy and CLG and Wildcard Gaming in the NACL. Been doing team management for the past 8.5 years now, so happy to be here.
Great, and then we'll go to Orbit, who's right under her. Oh. Orbit, are we having technical difficulties this early in already?
I can hear Tim.
I can hear you.
Oh, sorry, can you introduce yourself? Maybe it is my setup that's not working. One moment then. Okay, we are back. Okay, Orbit, try one more time,
Hello?
please. Perfect. Okay, we fixed it.
Sorry for breaking it again. I'm Orbit. You probably saw me in the coach panel yesterday. I basically explained myself there, but I'll say it again. Really just an Overwatch player. That's pretty much it. Grinded the game for a long time, almost went tier 2, and then turned coach.
Awesome. Okay. And last but certainly not least, Chloe, can you also introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chloe. I was formerly a Game Changers Pro at Misfits, and I currently work at Socials with FlyQuest.
Awesome. Oh, I almost forgot. We didn't go over the question of this year. What is your favorite video game of all time? And we will go in the same order.
Okay. If we're talking like game I've played the most, the answer is probably Mario Kart Wii. And I think I'm just gonna stick with that though, because it's kind of sick. But like my current favorite game is Splitgate. I still play the heck out of that game.
Okay.
Yesterday I said it was COD MW3, so I'll go with a different game for today. I'll probably say it's FIFA Street, like the old version that came on the PS2. I grinded that.
I'll throw in a bit of a hot take. I'm going to say Tetris with Friends.
Oh, I miss Tetris with friends.
So good. Absolutely beautiful game.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll jump straight into our panel then. So we'll start off with a general question for each of you, which is kind of tell everyone how you got to where you are today and basically how you ended up here.
Yeah, I guess I can start off. I've been doing team management at League of Legends specifically for the past, oh dear, 8.5 years almost now. Um, all the way from low tier, like amateur, into semi pro, and then professional with CLG and Energy for about 6.5 years of that. It started in 2016. I was just competing in whatever circuits Riot had at the time. When I started, it was right before franchising of LCS, so making teams to compete in various random online tournaments, going to LANs, but also competing in the Challenger Series qualifiers at the time. After they changed to post franchising, I just kept going through whatever circuits they had. That turned into Scouting Ground Circuit, that turned into Proving Ground Circuit, which then turned into the NACL, where I joined Counterlogic Gaming to run their developmental roster, CLG Faith at the time. I was with them for about a year until Energy bought out CLG, and I moved over to Energy and became the assistant general manager for the LCS team. After my time with Energy ended, I was kind of looking for a change, and I saw the position open at Keanu College, and I always wanted to get into collegiate if it was the right opportunity and a place that I actually felt like I could make the differences that I wanted to make and not be stuck working under someone else. So when I saw the position open for heading up esports here and seeing that it was a relatively fresh school to the esports space, it piqued my interest, and now I'm up here in Fort McMurray, Alberta.
Awesome. How
Um,
how is Fort Mac actually?
It's honestly not that bad. I will say it was minus 40 when I got here on February 15th, but today it's plus 20 and rainy. So it's getting better. It's really nice. All like in terms of like facilities, the school's really nice. The esports arena we have is way nicer than expected. Like the things in town are really nice. It's probably all the oil money, but it's honestly not that bad. The only downside is you're far from everything, but
Mhm.
I'm kind of used to that because I grew up in Halifax, and the next real city is like a 9-10 hour drive away. So it's not that bad, honestly, and I just kind of come to work in games, so I'm just chilling.
That's nice. That's nice. All right. Sorry, Orbit. On to you.
no worries. For me, my career started out actually on COD. I play it a lot, to say the least, and at the time there wasn't a good ranked scene or really a big competitive scene.
Mhm.
But as soon as Overwatch came out, I actually got it on Xbox, and I was really, really bad, but I just liked playing the game, so I got a PC. And then I just kept sort of grinding from there. Like it was a really big challenge for me, because when I did get a PC, uh, everyone at Overwatch was already pretty established. I got a PC in 2021, so it was really a challenge for me to sort of compete with them. But I'd say I did decent.
Yeah. I think going from console to KBM is difficult, especially if that's what you're like so used to, right?
Uh, well, it would be if being honest, it wasn't that big of a change. I think the fact that I was playing Overwatch sort of helped me out. It's a game that's very entirely almost wholly based on positioning and game sense. Like yeah, you can have sort of a name. I didn't play the characters that took aim though. So yeah, it wasn't that big of a switch for me, but I know people that went through it and like went from controller to M&K and played like DPS or a very aim intensive character, and I know how hard it can be. But
Mm-hmm.
if anyone asked me, I would always say Switch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Chloe, tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so I was originally a Counter-Strike player, and I've I was kind of like casually playing the game and following the esports scene for the longest time. And I never really thought that I would actually work in esports or find myself like getting a career in it until I started a social media account like around COVID era and just kind of started like posting funny tweets. That eventually got me a job opportunity at Anbox, or I think people would probably know more familiarly NYXL. And I was posting like Valorant memes. And in the middle of that, I was kind of just playing a ton of Valorant, and I ended up getting asked to stand in for a team with some of my friends. And they liked me enough that they kept me on while I was still like working this like kind of freelance social media job. And it was really weird because I was like walking down like two paths at the same time. But um, we got a good showing at a Game Changers event at one point, and it eventually like somehow got me a contract at Misfits, and then I was playing for them for a while. So I don't know. I feel like the start of my esports journey was just like a complete mess, but I'm happy to be here.
Hey, it's a mess that seems to be working out for yourself. So
Yeah,
at least
I guess you could say that.
I mean, a lot of from what I've heard talking to like all the panelists that are previous and coming up is just sometimes esports like comes up and whacks you on the side of the head and is like, hey, did you know we were here? And let me open up like a bunch of opportunities you didn't know like existed. Um, but speaking of that, you know, doing esports or trying to pursue a career or trying to pursue like either it's pro or something in social media or even being a student can be pretty overwhelming. So I know, Chloe, you are still a student at U of
I
A.
am, yeah.
So how is that kind of balancing your work with your hobbies, with your friends, with your school, and trying not to be too overwhelmed?
It's a pretty crazy, I guess, work life school balance at the same time. I think it requires a lot of time management and a lot of patience, just because a lot of the times you have to sacrifice a lot in order to fit something in. For example, a great thing about working with FlyQuest is that my education is the number one priority, and they always support me when it comes to like exams or when I have like an important class, and I'm able to have someone fill for me, which I think helps a lot with that like balance. But I think it's also important to know when it's time to take a break and maybe take some time off, because I burnout is real, and I think a lot of people underestimate how much it can actually impact you. And I think it's important to take like breaks every now and then.
Mhm, definitely. I guess Myra or Orbit, have either of you experienced that burnout and kind of struggles with figuring out how to balance all the aspects in
Yeah,
your life?
yeah. So when I was playing, like actually grinding to try and go T1, I would have been 16, and I kind of ignored burnout, to say the least. Would I would tell people that, oh yeah, no, I'm only scrimming like 8 to 10, which is pretty standard. But usually what I do is I would scrim with EU teams, so from 2 to 4, and then scrim from 6 to 12. So I kind of ignored burnout because I thought it was the best way to go approach is to grind. And I ended up giving myself really bad carpal tunnel, and I had to quit.
Mm,
So I would definitely listen to the advice that burnout is real. And even if you think that you can go past burnout and just keep grinding, don't, because then your wrists and body won't be able to handle it.
mhm,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar for me. Less of a concern about wrist and body from the grinding of playing, but more so just the mental aspect of it, especially when you're dealing with like the stressors of like high level competitive. Even just like being a manager on a team, you still have so much pressure, especially at the LCS level, of just like you know that your career is fundamentally tied to team performance, and that can lead to a lot of existing stress. The one thing I found helpful about pro, comparative to like collegiate, or yeah, more so with pro, is off season, where in between the splits, especially in my position, there was at least like a week or two where I can just kind of vibe and do nothing. But now I'm kind of like learning how to how to microdose rest to put it briefly. Not having that like, oh, I know in 3 months I'll have like 2 months where I'm kind of just doing nothing, like not knowing that that doesn't exist. Like I have to then think about like, okay, I'm doing little things each night. Doing little things each week. Maybe I can plan like a big event at the end of the year. Maybe I can plan to go on a small event like during the year as well. Like um, adding like little things throughout the year because I'm the type of person where I get extremely obsessive about my work and to my own detriment. So I kind of need to force myself to actually chill out and vibe sometimes. And learning how to like microdose vibing has been very useful to me the past I guess it's almost 3 months here now.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely I feel that sentiment, the same sentiment where it's because, our industry's online and typically we're always online. It's like, oh, Discord messages are always open. You're like, okay, probably
Mhm.
should stop working, but you're like, well, but it's they're there and I could just answer it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thankfully, working for a school has been a much better change than pro. I will say on pro teams in my past position, it's 6 days a week, and most of the time going to be 7. You're on call permanently, which can be a really hard thing to get used to. Being in a school has been a nice change of like people actually just turn off their email after a certain point in the day. And that was a little hard for me to get used to. And I am the type of person that would, if I want something done, I'll get it done. Doesn't really matter the time. So I do think that like learning to turn things off is really helpful because I have been really bad about enabling that with my past teams where I would answer my players if they DM me something silly at 2 a.m. Like, hi, how do I fix my league client? It's not working, or just random little things. So, learning to make that disconnect is very, very helpful, and I would highly recommend it for anyone.
Mhm. You're definitely taking care of yourself, your mental health, your physical health is super important. That's something that's a really nice trend in our scene that has been going on. Um, but yeah, so we will move on. So I guess, um, well, I have just lost my complete train of thought. Anyways, so um, Myra, I think you mentioned to me in your intake form that you do some work with DEI and LGBTQ activism. So I was wondering if you could tell everyone a little bit about that and your involvement.
Yeah, for sure. So being a trans woman in esports, you kind of put yourself on the forefront of that just by existing. But with a lot of things I've done, especially over the past like 3 years, have been more directed towards existing programs and trying to help grow them. Last year, I worked with Seto and Riot Games to help run LCS Game Changers 2023, working with Seto to help ideate and change the program from what it was in previous years, and then working as both a mentor and a panel guest, and also just helping facilitate the program as a whole. We moved it from what it was originally as a sort of like week long little like boot camp, learn about esports type thing, to being a simulated league where teams and staff, who are both game changers participants, would learn in a controlled space where they had to make their own teams, run tryouts, run a circuit, and then have a LAN finals in LA. So working on that was really cool. And the year previously, I also helped do a bit of like day of a pro type touring of the CLG facility during off season. And then same thing this year as well. On top of everything, we hosted one of the teams at the energy facility to do their scrims the week leading up to the actual on-stage matches. Also work as a mentor for queer women of esports. I've been working with my mentor now for the past couple months, helping guide them along on their projects, helping them sort of get a better feel of the space. That's been awesome. And then just in the past, making just doing things like hands-on that are a little less official with wildcard gaming previously, making women's and co-ed teams. We won Supergirl Gamer 2021. So like for me, I just, if anything I feel like needs change, I am the type of person that I will force it through. And I think that brings a lot of good influence to people in terms of they see someone that either is like them or is pushing into like a new area that they like feel like they want to be into and doing that. And I feel like the best way to do that is just by putting yourself out there as much as possible. So that's kind of the main thing I've done.
Hmm. Yeah, that's all super. That work definitely doesn't go unnoticed, and I think it's really nice to see that the scene grow over the last couple of years. I think it's really also obvious and valid with the GC scene. Um, Okay, so we will pass this on to Orbit. So in the position you're in, what is like your daily schedule like? Like a most standard kind of day.
Um, well, we're in summer right now, obviously, so it's a little bit lighter. But during the school year, um, usually for me, uh, well, actually, funnily enough, I couldn't play for my university during the school year, because I didn't bring my PC. I would have procrastinated my work too much, so I had no computer. So, essentially, I would be coaching the university team through Nintendo Switch. Um, and those scrims would usually take place 8 to 10 with one match a week. But it can add up, especially when you're taking in like, oh, you have this league, but then you also have like this side tournament that you want that everyone wants to do on this weekend. Trying to balance like school, this work, and just a social life and sleep, it's impossible. I I sacrifice sleep for it. Um, but like for me, usually I'd be in class or studying for around 7 hours a day. So usually from like 10 to maybe 4 or 5. And then it would go right into prep for scrim from 6 to like 7. I'd eat from 7 to 8 or just do homework. And then I'd scrim from 8 to 10 and then go to sleep. Usually, that's usually how it would go. Game days are a little different. Um, Game days, we would usually like it would just be Overwatch from like for me from like 6 to 11 that night. So it can definitely be very challenging when it comes to the schedule. Um, but school should always be first. You're there to get an education. You're not there to like your employer doesn't care if you won an Overwatch tournament. They care if you got A's in this course though,
Mm,
right? So you're there to get education. School should always come first, but it can get very, very hectic for me.
mhm. Yeah. Well, luckily you have kind of a bit of the slow season to balance you out and kind of maybe focus a little more on your studies and all of that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so Chloe, this next question is for you. So what was it like being a pro Valorant player, and which one do you prefer, if you can say, which one do you prefer being in social media or as a player?
Um, Being a pro Valorant player was actually really interesting because the Game Changer circuit, other than the big LAN event at the end of the year, is completely remote.
Mm,
So, especially as a free agent team, a lot of the time, unless you use your own money, you kind of have to like only know your teammates online, which personally I don't think is like great when it comes to team bonding or like having an actual connection with them. When I got like brought onto Misfits, they actually brought us to the offices to boot camps, which I thought was so sick because I got to see my teammates in person and I got to like kind of get a sense of what it was like to actually make it. And it was just really cool being able to see like all the people I got super close with within a year, like finally in person, as well as like um I guess in a way like playing from a different space that wasn't home, just because it felt like all I could think about there was like practicing and I didn't have any like external factors in the way. That was kind of cool.
mm,
Um when it comes to social media or like if I'd rather be working in social media or a pro player, I think I would personally rather work in social media just because I think that being a pro is a lot harder than a lot of people think. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and I think also a lot of humility, I guess, in a way, because you always have to kind of look at yourself from a third person point of view when it comes to everything. And I think it's really challenging, and I don't think I ever really got like used to that perspective.
mm. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're doing it. You're making it through. Um, yeah, but I guess speaking of challenges, are there any challenges I guess there are a lot of challenges players have to overcome to be the best or to try to be the best. Is there any advice that any of you would give to those kind of aspiring pro players, whether they're high school students who, for some reason, they're cracked at Valorant, or they're kind of a little bit older in the post-secondary and on tier two teams and collegiate teams, like both with the goals of becoming a pro in some respect?
I can speak a bit to that towards the league scene specifically, but it really translates to everything. A lot of things that I see with upcoming league players who are like really, really good at the game is a lot of them will hyper focus into just playing more games. They want to grind for a high rank. They want to just play more, play more, play more. It's the thought that if I play more, I'll just be better. And a lot of people really ignore actually taking the time to either individually review their games, just look things over, actually like sit down and think about what they're doing, or like working with a coach, a friend, anything. And a lot of times that helps solidify a lot of like really bad habits if you're just like game spamming perma.
Hmm.
Another thing too is for some reason there's this idea, especially in league in like high tier three, that if you get onto a team and you don't do good, it's just doomed. I've been on very good teams. I've been on very bad teams. I know players in the LCS and NACL now that have been on awful teams and have been on really good teams. And the main thing that matters is your consistency as an individual and your ability to grow. I think taking any opportunity you can to get into tryouts, combines, teams, even if you don't think that you're gonna absolutely like smurf it in there, is really valuable. Because just at the minimum, you're going to at least get your name on paper. You're going to make some connections. Someone is going to know that you exist who did not know that you existed the day before. And getting your name out there is really big because even at the pro level, it's so hard to know everyone who's on the come up. And obviously, like the people who are just absolutely like insane with it will rise to the top just by the nature of it. But if you want to give yourself the big advantage, just do anything to get your name known. I would also recommend trying to reach out and talk directly with pro coaches. If you're a player as well, even just like coaches in tier two as well, just offer to like, hey, would you be down to ever do a review? Or hey, can I ask you about things like this? That initiative like really goes a far way. And even if it's not that coach who's picking you up, if your name ever comes up, it's something like that they'll like comment on, oh yeah, this guy took that initiative to do that. Not every coach will say yes, but a lot of them do, and a lot of them really appreciate it. So it's just everything about like taking the time to focus in on yourself and not just like spam games and get bad habits, actually getting your name out there, playing in whatever you can, and not just expecting it to come to you. Because at the end of the day, all you can do is increase your odds of making it. You can never guarantee it.
Hmm.
Yeah, and just general advice to build off that. I think there's two very important things that like you need to A, take care of, and B, know when you're trying to go pro. A, if you have any mental health issues, if you have any like if you're just unwell, get it sorted, get it treated, and don't just like kind of hide it. It's not good for you. It's not good for anyone else on your team. Not good for the people you play with. It hurts everyone in general. Get it sorted and then just come back, right? People aren't gonna think that you're awful because you went and sorted out your mental health problems. Sort it out. Secondly, know what you're getting into. And lots of games, esports is a very, very, very volatile industry. It's lots of hours with no job security. Like, yeah, you get to play games for a living. That sounds great. And that's what everyone's chasing it. But you have to keep that in mind. I think esports is one of the industries where you have to have a plan B no matter what. Whether that's taking your talents to collegiate, getting a scholarship so you can get an education, right? But you have to have that plan B. It's too volatile of an industry right now to not have one.
Hmm.
Yeah. Also to add on that, I think that's probably the biggest reason why I'm still in school while I'm working in esports. Um, I've considered like taking a gap year or taking a break from school, and I've kind of weighed the options, and it just wasn't worth it. Especially because I've seen like a lot of teams die and a lot of like jobs that seem secure kind of blow up in your face. And I think it's important to always have that backup option as like a what if just in case it doesn't work out.
Hmm. Yes, definitely backup plans are really good, really useful for people. I think that's also why a lot of collegiate programs are thriving now is they school first, like you said, Orbit, and then we'll add on the pro play or the developing broadcast or whatever that is, and you can build out your secondary skills with that. Um, okay, so we have probably time for one more question before we get to Ranked. Um, so this is for everybody. So answer if you want to answer. If you don't, don't. So at what point, or if you've reached this point, if you haven't, that's also fine. At what point did you kind of know or feel that you want to be in this industry, whether it's what you're doing currently or something adjacent, that it's a path that you want to pursue?
I can start off on that myself. I started when I was like pretty young, 16 when I started, actually 15 when I started first managing teams. And I kind of have a weird trajectory because of that. Um, and for me, the moment that I realized like 100% like this is the only thing I want to do, would probably be 2018 when I attended DreamHack Montreal. It was the first LAN that I got to go to on a large scale like that, and it was the first time that I really got to like get a taste of competition. Being in the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, being in the BYOC area, getting to experience that, even just as at that current point, like a kind of a nobody, getting second place at that league tournament, like feeling the thrill of winning, feeling the rush of like defeat, all the emotions with it. Like I 100% knew that that's what I wanted to do. The event was for me chaotic, scuffed, everything in between. There was so much that went wrong, but like I kind of like that, and I kind of like the insanity that comes with esports, and it's why like from that point on, like the only thing I wanted to do was go pro. It's the reason that like I kind of dedicated my life towards that and towards LCS. So like for me, it was just like feeling that all the good and the bad, like that. I love that stuff.
All
Uh,
right.
I
Oh,
guess I
sorry,
guess
go
I
for it.
can, yeah. Um, Basically for me it was I actually remember very vividly. At the time, I was a part of a team that was a bunch of console players that transitioned over to PC, and we entered the tier 2 qualifying tournament, like the tournament to qualify to tier 2, and we were in a position where to keep our qualifying dreams alive, we had to beat, I think at the time it was Bellevue University. I think they were at the time in Overwatch they were definitely a favorite to qualify, but they were like a top. I think they were top 10 NA outside of Overwatch League, and we did beat them, but that wasn't it. That like made me know I want to do it. Uh, we beat them. I think it was a clean sweep, and so in Overwatch you have oh, this was Overwatch 1, so you had 6 people, and my tank duo, he actually didn't speak much English. He's actually from Hong Kong at the time, so I was still on the edge with the whole esports thing because I didn't know if I'd get a scholarship, yada yada. And after we won that match, everyone was hype, and then he just starts doing a rant, but he doesn't know how to speak well English, so it's all in Mandarin. Um, and at that point is when knew I wanted to do it because I thought that was just hilarious, and I thought like this is something I want to do especially now because if we can pull this off and people are still mad about something that happened earlier, this is my kind of industry.
Awesome. Okay. I think Imagine Rent would be pretty memorable. But okay, we will switch over to Ranked. So this time, let's see, buttons. So we'll be starting with Overwatch Ranked, and if we have time, we'll do a Valorant one. So for anyone who doesn't know how Ranked works, we will be looking at a clip that is submitted to the Ranked website. And then our panelists here will be the ones trying to decide what rank the play comes from bronze to top 500 in this case. And you'll be scored based on how close you are. So we didn't do this with our last panel, the Bring Your Parents to School, but our coaches panel got 6 out of 6. So they got a perfect score, and they're the only ones in the
Okay.
history of CIE to get a
I was
perfect
on that.
score.
I've
You were?
played 11 hours of Overwatch.
Okay.
You
Okay.
guys
So
carry me on
I'm
the Valorant
qualified.
one.
Okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
I
Okay.
am.
Carry me on the Valorant one. I got this Overwatch one.
All right.
Awesome.
If it's soldier, I got us.
All
This
right.
is
So
not GM or champ. I can tell you this right now.
all right. So I'll play the clip, and I'll play
Trio
it
queuing on Genji,
twice.
right on the team.
Okay, so we got 69. 69 is the name. I have a theory that like if you're low elo, your name sucks. So if you have a like funny-ish name, you have to be at least like gold. Like that's any game. The league names in low elo are awful.
Okay, this is diamond.
Too bad. Yeah, I was gonna say. I would say
This
probably
is diamond.
Diamond. They're dirty.
GM,
They're
there's
dirty.
only 4 people that are champ right now. None of them. It could be top 500 because top 500 is so low right now because the beginning of the season. It's probably not though. There's only like 100 people in GM. It's not one of them. I want to say it's diamond because his mechanics are too bad for masters, and also no one plays Genji.
I'm guessing gold.
Do we want to see the clip one more time?
I think let's see it again. Let's see it again.
Yeah, see it again.
Okay.
I was gonna say like plat. The whole reason though I'm saying diamond is because he does a ghost dash. Oh, it wasn't really a ghost dash. Never mind.
I'm gold plat. You gotta remember this is the people submitting their like good clips, so this is their peak.
True,
That is
actually,
true. I
I
mean,
am overestimating them.
I think
Genji
it's also important
mains.
to dissect the enemy comp. What is this?
Well, to be fair, it is ranked. Anything goes in Overwatch
True.
ranked.
That's true.
Anything goes. I'm down for plat.
I'm down for platter diamond as well.
I'm going plat.
Okay, plat it is. And submit. It is
That's
master.
disappointing.
Master. Wow.
That's disappointing.
All right,
I'm
if
actually a
that
little
guy's
surprised by that
master,
one
I
as
can hit
well.
master. See you guys in 3
I guess
weeks.
anyone can hit master now.
All right, so our next clip is here.
That is gold.
Yeah.
He held on
I'm
to.
seeing.
He
I've seen a lot
held
of
on to-
M1 and not a lot of M2.
Well, look, to be fair, it could be any ranks. Overwatch was in a really bad rank state earlier. Everyone was masters. But he held on to immortality that entire fight, even when they were assaulted.
We also don't
the person was
know
1 HP.
when this clip was, so it could have been a couple
Yeah.
patches ago. Not that, I mean, yeah, patches. Do you
I'm
want the clip
gonna
one more
lean
time?
gold.
Are you
I'm
guys
leaning towards
confident
gold
with
slow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a mineral rank.
A mineral. Gold. There we go.
Hell yeah.
These feel
Also,
like
it's
my
fun to know
games.
that I'm stuck in mineral low.
All right, and then our last one for Overwatch.
Oh, this is GM.
Do you know the person?
Yeah, it's Z-Man's ult. He's a contenders player.
What if it's a fan?
Could be.
We'll find out, I guess.
It's soldier time.
Oh yeah, this is an ult. Holy.
This guy's good.
Okay. There's actually nothing to go off of in this clip.
All right, we can play it again. We can play it again.
I think this is lower because they all don't know that Soldier's behind them even after he kills 3.
This feels like someone on a Smurf account. I feel like I'm being baited.
No, their movement was too bad to be. I think. I mean, that first guy was Masters. Actually, don't know.
Mm. I don't know if this gives you any hint because I am also like plat, but their support positioning seems a little funny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They also just didn't know the soldier was behind them after he killed 2.
Maybe silver.
Uh, yeah. Actually, I'm actually down for silver or gold. This
No,
is
but
thing is, plat could be anything though.
Plat.
Plat could be this or even top 500. Like plat is the all around.
All right, silver it is.
Mineral rank -1. Silver?
Yeah, I'm down for silver.
Bronze.
bronze. Okay,
Yeah,
we take this.
feels
We take
pretty
this at that
accurate.
point. We take this.
Wait, who,
Wait, that sucks. You guys, wait, we're off by 1 and it's 0 points. That's sucky. No offense, Rankle. I'm sorry. Okay,
Hit us.
we can do a Valorant one if you guys would like.
I'm down for Valorant.
I'm down for Val.
Give me 2 seconds to set this up. Valorant Rankle. Here we go. In the meantime, can you guys let the audience know of like a memorable moment in your careers?
I'm trying to think of one that's stream appropriate. Uh,
We loaded into a tournament, and that same person I'd said can't speak good English he has a very big accent, and we loaded into the tournament. The entire other team was on alts. They were all plat. He loaded into the game and just screamed they're all plat
Why?
because
Yeah.
it was like a GM tournament. He didn't know people were allowed to be on Smurfs, so he just screamed they're
Mm.
all plat. I'm going DPS, and he has the worst aim of everyone.
Oh.
oh god. For me, it was 2019. I was in a team house in Phoenix, Arizona, with a high level tier 3 team I was on, and this was like not even in game. We were all in the team house. Our mid laner at the time, for context, grew up in Korea and then lived in Winnipeg, and we were in Arizona, and he has no knowledge of what a scorpion is. And there was a scorpion on the ceiling, and we were all freaking out. And he walks over casually, whacks it into like an empty like soda can box, and like throws it outside, and we're all like screaming at him, and he's like, what, it's just a weird spider. And we're like, bro. And one of the other players who's half Korean like goes on Google Translate and translates it for him, and I can just see his eyes like get bigger. He's like, oh no, realizing what we did. So he changed his Smurf account to Scorpion Slayer for like one of the tournaments we played in after realizing that, and that was really fun. That being in team house is a very fun time, even if it can be incredibly cursed at other times.
Awesome. That is so funny. Okay. Sorry, do we have one last memorable story before we start the rank build?
I'm trying to think of one. I think it would probably be like a competitive achievement, I guess. I'd say it would probably be beating XSET in Game Changers qualifiers. I don't think it qualified for that event, but it was really cool because they were playing under like a free agent name, but everyone knew that they were like getting paid. And it was our like very first tournament together. I think I lost my voice after that game because I was screaming so loudly. But I was in dorms at the time, so I feel really bad for the people that were living near me.
At least you didn't get a noise complaint.
I somehow
we know
didn't.
of.
And you know what? We take this. We take
That's
this.
huge.
We take those. Okay. We are ready to play the first clip.
What is he looking at?
This is my kind of
Nothing.
clip.
Also, this comp is really bad. Okay. Double senti on attack on ascent.
Silver, silver. Oh, what is the enemy
No, this is
name?
I'm thinking
bronze.
below silver. I think even in bronze, people will not peak like that. This looks like iron or bronze, like very low bronze.
I feel like we're being
I'm actually
baited.
down to guess Ascendant.
Yeah. This is green rank.
Anything?
Like,
I mean,
these look like
Viper's
some of my
green.
teammates.
Viper's green. Bronze or iron.
I'm down for bronze.
That Phoenix is
I think
awful.
just by the way that breach peeks out with his flash and then realizes that he can't actually shoot it and then backs up, that makes me think it's iron. Because I think a bronze breach would know to like look at the wall to flash.
You are like a little too confident in the abilities of a bronze Valorant player, but I get your point. I'm down for iron. We send
I've
it.
seen bronzes and some of them had
Yeah, go
hands,
for
so
it.
I'm not sure.
All right, we flip it on iron.
Iron. Iron. Bronze.
No. Okay, maybe I did underestimate it a bit.
No one listened to me.
This is immortal.
Oh my.
This is an old clip.
Okay, wait. Is that person crouching when they shoot?
Yeah, he is, and
Yeah,
he's
they're
spraying.
crouching like every time they shoot.
And he's
Okay,
spraying.
so platinum or below, just off of that.
I do think it's diamond because his crosshair placement's on their head.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that their
No, it's
crosshair
definitely
placement
a
was
flat
pretty good.
CS player. The crouching is a CS thing, and you will have the crosshair, but like
Hmm.
I'm saying plat. You can say diamond. I'm saying plat though.
I don't know. I still think it's diamond.
We can go diamond.
So
I'm
one
down.
for plat, one for diamond.
Chloe, it's up to you. No
Tiebreaker.
pressure.
I'm flipping a coin for this. I'm gonna say heads for plat, tails for diamond.
Oh, this is so based.
Just pick green rank, easy.
No.
It's tails. They're shooting diamond.
Diamond.
It should be like silver. Okay.
Immortal.
No,
Okay,
Immortal.
that actually kind of surprised me. I think.
No,
Yeah.
we're the capper. This person's lying to us.
Okay,
This
and
isn't-
then
these are
one
all old
last
clips.
one.
We gotta clutch up. Oh.
You.
I
Yo.
really want to say plat.
Okay, but that brim kill is nasty.
Brimco was
Flip
good,
it.
but Viper keeps their wall up the entire time Astra wall's up. And the Astral is just not that good.
Well, it's not the worst thing. I think that's not like the worst wall I've seen. Pretty sure that was kind of the meta wall at some point, but
I mean, if you look again, the Viper's slow walking mid when Astra's on site.
yeah, they have a lurking Phoenix as well. But I think that happens a lot even in like higher elo games. I'm still cool with like plat diamond though, because I think they understand the game enough.
I feel plat, but it's
I'm
not
down
a
for
hard
plat.
kill.
Plat. Okay.
I
We'll
think we should
see.
plat.
This is like Radiant. Yeah.
Immortal.
I don't know about that.
No.
Hmm.
All right, I'm hitting him more.
You're hitting immortal now in Valorant?
Yeah, see you there.
Oh, yeah, those are surprising. Valorant is always a weird one sometimes, except for the coaches because they got that all right somehow. Anyways, okay, so we are actually just about out of time. So thank you, Myra, Orbit, and Chloe for joining us for the last hour or so for this panel. It's really great chatting with you all. I hope you have the good rest of your day. And thank you also to our amazing sponsors, BMO and TELUS. Without them, we would not be able to put this event on or have the prize pools we do this year. And then next, right after this panel, starting at about 4 p.m. PST, or for you in the East, 7 p.m., is the Overwatch 2 third place and finals match. And then on CIE 2, our second stream, we have the start of our League of Legends round robins. And I think we have a full 16-team bracket this year, so that'll be super, super exciting. But once again, thank you all for watching. Thank you to our amazing panelists for speaking. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.